It's time to focus on seniors with Helping Seniors TV. The television show designed to make you aware of senior issues and needs, as well as to acquaint you with the resources available to help you age in place and with dignity. Now, here's your host, Joe Steckler.
I'm Kay Kaiser, and welcome to Helping Seniors, the television arm of Helping Seniors of Brevard County. Our show is designed to provide you with information on how to develop your own aging and care plans. Our topic today is how financial advisors are important to seniors. Joining me today is Beth Courtney. Welcome, Beth Courtney.
Thank you for having me.
So you are with a company called Courtney and Braswell Financial Group, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
So you have some partners in your firm?
Yes, I have a partner, Clint Braswell, and a team of advisors who support.
Okay, excellent. Well, for a lot of people listening in, one of our mission statements with Helping Seniors is to try to help educate our viewers. And a lot of people think, I'm not quite sure what a financial advisor is. How do I even start with someone like you with your background and professionalism? So let's tell the audience about what is a financial advisor.
Sure. We actually get that question a lot. I think people assume that financial advisors are people who just serve millionaires or something. But it's actually so much more than that and so much easier than that. We actually focus on helping to educate people as well about finances, try to help them find financial peace and confidence and security by helping them kind of look at what they have now and develop a plan to make now better and to make the future even better.
Well, is it ever, I know we're talking to senior viewers and maybe they're caretakers or maybe their sons or daughters. Is it ever a point in life to start too early?
There is never too early a time to start. I even have a little investor who is, I think, 8 years old.
Oh my gosh.
She's been saving up money from helping with chores and that kind of thing, and she's already investing.
Wow, that's amazing. But sometimes, Beth Courtney, as our population ages and more adult children start taking care of, their senior parents. And that for a lot of people is a real big struggle. Now they're taking care of their own children and taking care of their mother or father, and it can be a financial burden on them as well. Have you experienced that in your business?
I actually spend a lot of time with caregivers, with people who are in what they call the sandwich generation, which is exactly what you described. They're in the middle between taking care of their children and taking care of their parents. And so they're already dealing with all of the normal things of life that they have to deal with, including their own finances. And now they're helping care for their parents, which involves a lot of emotion because mom or dad might be slipping a little bit, unable to handle their finances. And they really need kind of emotional, physical, and financial support. And for people who maybe it's not their forte, that can be a scary thing.
That can be a challenge. I think if I recall, you may have been in that situation.
I still am a caregiver
and you still
for
are.
my mom and my stepdad. So it gives me a certain special level of compassion for others who are going through that. I'm fortunate that I understand all the financial, comings and goings, but I can't imagine being faced with that situation and also not having a clue about where mom or dad's financial situation is, how will they pay for care, that kind of thing. So,
well, a lot of things go into the puzzle, I'm sure.
Very much.
And, as a financial advisor, how can you help someone meet those challenges, basically?
Great question. We actually spend a lot of time with the families and helping them to kind of open the door to conversations with mom and dad. Sometimes, especially that older generation, they really never talked about their finances and they're uncomfortable about opening up with their kids.
I was going to ask you that question because, from my experience in talking to many of our callers as the information specialist for Helping Seniors at Brevard, a lot of the children are trying to talk to mom and dad, and then maybe dad ends up in assisted living or a skilled nursing facility, and he's always been the one that's taking care of all the bills, writing all the checks and everything. And Now all of a sudden mom says, what do I do?
That's exactly
I have
right.
no idea. I can recall Beth Courtney, one fellow calling me where his wife passed away, and she kept everything on her computer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Now this fellow had no idea about how to find all that information,
Right.
all her spreadsheets, every document, every
Didn't
bill.
know passwords, didn't know.
Nothing. So he was totally lost. And thank goodness we found a volunteer who was in the
good.
computer.
Oh, good.
You know, and he wanted to help seniors. So
That's
that worked
important.
out like a true blessing for him, because he wouldn't have been able to find all that.
It's tough, especially when only one of the two people has been doing that work all along.
Right.
We've, in fact, a huge focus of the time that I spend in my practice is with widows or women whose husbands are incapacitated. And it's the first time they've ever dealt with that role. So we really a lot of the conversation is really about the emotions of what they're having to go through before we even get to the money conversation.
Absolutely.
And then we can help them sort of unwind a tangled web that might be there.
With your experience, how long do you find it takes to kind of get past that emotional, to be able to say, look, I'm here to help you? And, you know.
Thankfully, they're fairly receptive fairly early on, usually because the reason they even came to us is someone referred them. So there is at least that a little bit of basis and trust. And then once they realize that we're really just there to help and to make sure that they understand everything and just kind of educate and kind of guide them. And, you know, we, in the case of a widow, we'll help fill out the life insurance claims and the VA. We work with if their husband was a veteran, you know, we kind of help with the VA piece. So the things that were very scary to them, we kind of help take some of that fear away. And so I would say, you know, within a couple of visits, we're able to really make a lot of progress.
At least make a little bit of progress, and a lot of women, particularly, you know, because the husband was taking care of all the finances and everything, to get everything in order. She's scared. She's very fearful, and I think that's one of the largest factors, is the fact that a senior needs to trust someone like you who's got that experience. I mean, after all, do you find that you say that, hey, look, I understand, I'm in the sandwich generation myself?
It makes a huge difference. And I just was meeting with a gal who had been widowed a couple of months ago, and her whole family came in, the adult children, and they were wonderful. And we do that quite often. And the ripple effect of that is now the folks in my generation are going, oh my gosh, I don't want it to be so tough for my children when my time comes. So now let's do some planning for ourselves and make sure we are already prepared and that both partners know.
Well, Beth Courtney, how can we prevent this and get that education? I mean, this is one arm with helping seniors of Brevard by offering a television show with you as a guest. But, you know, there's so much out there that people say, I don't know, where can I go?
To start.
They have no clue. So what would you suggest that, you know, may be additional help for these seniors and caretakers?
Well, certainly helping seniors is a big thing right there. Just a great resource to kind of point people in the direction. Oftentimes churches even, for instance, I teach financial peace through my church, and most of the area churches offer that class. And that's a great class, especially, it's for anyone, but especially if you're a caregiver and you're trying to figure out how to handle your own things so that your kids don't go through it. It's all the steps from budgeting to getting out of debt to saving, even planning for college, managing insurance, how you can save money on insurance, and very helpful tools. There are a lot of resources in this community to help.
Excellent. And if you know somebody really needs to find out where to go, we always recommend call Helping Seniors of Brevard at area code 321-473-7770.
Absolutely.
And we can put them in touch with you and any other resource that they may be looking for. I find it kind of interesting, and I remember one of the first things when I met you personally was you're a Dave Ramsey fan.
Oh, I am.
You know, for people who are not familiar with Dave Ramsey, maybe you can share with them what Dave Ramsey has done. I mean, what's some of his history, and that's really revolved to making him one of the most sought after talk radio and host in the entire nation.
Yeah, very much. He's definitely reached the nation. He's actually the one that created the program that I was just referring to called Financial Peace University. And so he is a guy who frankly made huge mistakes, like most of us, way back when. He was a young husband and father, and
did he go bankrupt, or did he just?
He did.
That's what I thought. I remember.
So
right.
at one point, he got sick and tired of being sick and tired about money. He said, "I'm going to change it," and eventually developed this Financial Peace University program. And there are 7 baby steps involved, and he learned them himself. It's God's and Grandma's way of handling finances. And he went ahead and decided to start teaching it, and now millions and millions of people have made it through the program. And I've been teaching it for, I think, 8 years, and I have witnessed so much life change. It's incredible.
Now, how can people find out about coming to one of your classes?
Oh,
then?
well,
yeah.
Actually, our next class starts September 11th at Church at Viera.
Alrighty.
So you can go online to daveramsey.com and put in your zip code wherever you live, and it will take you to the churches that are available, or really even not just churches, but the facilities that offer the class.
Excellent.
And kind of follow through and get some good information.
But this is something that you do more than one time a year,
twice
right?
a year. We at our church, I do that twice a year.
Okay.
The fall and the spring.
Are there any other people in Brevard County that offer that class?
A lot of other churches. So if you go to that website and type in your zip code, you'll see everybody. I mean, throughout the country, there are a lot of places, a lot of organizations that teach it. So
good. Oh, I've been a fan. I always listening to him and how he's turned so many people around, which goes with
so much fun to
what
see.
you do in financial planning
It
and
does.
trying to. Whether do you do debt consolidation?
Not debt consolidation, and actually he speaks well on that subject as well.
All right.
It's more about debt reduction and figuring out how to live better within your means, so that you can do it a little more creatively. So
let me paint a picture, Beth Courtney. If a senior came to you and said, "Look, I'm kind of at a point where I don't know what I'm going to do. I am free and clear on my mortgage, but I don't have any long-term care insurance. I'm not on Medicaid.
Right.
What would happen to me in a scenario if I need to go into a higher health facility?"
Right.
So I'm sure you deal with this.
We do
right?
quite often. And clearly, the younger the person is who has that conversation with us, the more we can do for them in terms of getting long-term care insurance and covering that need while they're still healthy and the rates are low enough. But really, there are opportunities for everyone. It is definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation. We sit down and go through every inch of what's going on in their own personal financial life and help them find ways. If there's a way to directly meet that need, we absolutely will do that. And if not, we help refer them to resources that would better fit their situation.
Okay, excellent. Well, how can seniors really protect their current assets? You know, if somebody says, "Well, I've worked really hard for this," or, you know, "I've got more than $80,000 in assets."
Right.
And this is a point too. I'm thinking, you know, with the VA aid and attendance, I'm sure you're aware of, you know, of not counting your house or your home, but a surviving spouse who needs maybe somebody to come in and help her out a little bit. But she has a little more than $80,000, not counting her house and home. So how would a financial advisor help this individual a little bit and help directing?
This is where education is so important, and it's where it's very important that people are willing to share everything that's happening in their lives.
That's the bottom line,
and again,
right?
to bring in their adult children. I think people hear a lot about, "Oh, this is what so-and-so did," or "This is how it's done," or they operate on what they've heard from neighbors or coworkers, and that may or may not be true or even accurate for their own situation, especially if there's, you know, if it's a veteran. So really, it's about really dissecting their situation and figuring out, is there a more creative and yet legal, ethical way to do it?
And that brings up another point.
That's huge.
That brings another point up. Beth Courtney, the fact is that, you know, I would assume that you work closely with legal attorneys, because in some cases they can say, all right, such as the example, over 80,000, you know. How important do you feel that relationship is to be able to bring to the table with a senior and say, look, we have some options, I've got some connections, and these are people that I trust that are not going to take advantage of the senior?
Absolutely. It's critical that financial advisors have solid relationships with attorneys and accountants, sometimes it's a tax strategic thing that needs to happen.
Right.
But certainly there's always that legal aspect, and I can't emphasize the importance of working with qualified professionals.
Right.
People, I think, we can be penny wise and pound foolish.
True.
People, it's funny how often I'll hear someone who could well afford the help say, oh, I can't afford that because of perception. Just like people think, well, I can't afford a financial advisor because of what they've heard or perception. We don't even charge for our counseling, our education.
Well, that's a good point. So, if somebody really wanted to find out what direction do I go, all right, let's talk about picking up the phone, calling Helping Seniors of Brevard at 473-7770. We can put you in touch with people like Beth Courtney, who is a financial advisor professional. She has had additional schooling, additional education, be able to, and has had the ability to work as a liaison with the legal aspect of being able to put together all those pieces, if I can say, in a puzzle.
Right. I'm not an accountant and I'm not an attorney.
Right.
So I know enough to help them know what questions to ask an accountant or an attorney so that it will be a more efficient appointment, which will save them money. And sometimes the three of us professionals are in the room together with the person and their family.
How powerful
So it's even
is that?
more efficient.
Oh
So
my
we're
goodness.
covering all the bases in one appointment. So.
But you mentioned a word a number of times, Beth Courtney, is that's a fact about perception.
Oh gosh.
People think, oh, I need to be $500 million in the bank to do this, and
I feel badly for how many people have come a little bit later in the game because they didn't realize that they had that opportunity to get that counsel. Sometimes, it's very early in the game, and we're just going to provide that education so that when the time comes, so they're taking the steps now, even if it's just funding a 401k or a 403b, we're helping them with that now so that when the time comes, they already had the table set. They already have a financial plan in place, and they know exactly what happens if they retire or if one of the spouses moves to heaven or whatever. There's already a plan in place for all of those.
Right. Well, it's key, and I think the bottom line is, Beth, it's not too late.
Right. Not too early, not too late.
Don't think that because you're 80 years old, I get many calls, and I'll ask the caller, I say, do you have a plan?
Exactly.
As simple as that. Do you have a plan?
Right.
And I just had one the other day, and I said, call Beth Courtney. I think she can
Thank you. Thank you.
She can really get you in the right direction here. And I think maybe what might be fun to discuss, Beth Courtney, is the fact that what are some good financial planning techniques that you may offer?
Okay. So we do a very comprehensive look. So nothing should be excluded. We look at what you already have in maybe retirement assets like IRA, 401k, what do you have in cash?
Right.
And a big piece of the conversation is what do you care about and what makes
important.
you lose sleep at night? So we actually map out.
A lot of people do lose sleep.
Well, for instance,
thinking, where do I go? What do I do?
Well, it is.
Yeah.
And for instance, a newly widowed person,
especially.
For one of them, they're not worried about paying off the mortgage, and they'd rather keep whatever cash they inherited.
Right.
Another one might say, I can't sleep at night knowing that I have this mortgage over my head. So a big part of the planning process happens before catastrophe ever strikes. We've already had that conversation. We already know what's important to them.
Right.
And we map out, here's the plan that we think is going to work for you, and we all come to agreement. But here's a what-if scenario, and here's a what-if scenario. So part of the planning process is.
And I love that because I use that axiom. I don't know if it's an axiom or not, but I'm always saying, what if? What if? What if?
Right.
You've got to think about what if.
Right.
And how to plan appropriately.
Yeah.
And just say, okay, I'm going to make that call, pick up the phone, and you offer a free consultation
Absolutely.
to begin with.
Yeah,
so what have you got to lose?
Right. I think the
Bottom
scariest
line.
thing is thinking about doing it. And I love it because when people come in, they're a little timid and a little unsure and maybe a little scared.
Yeah.
And I love when the appointment wraps up and they say, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. I have a plan now, or I can retire. Or now I do know I'll be okay if something happens to him or to her.
Exactly. Well, what would you say would be some good financial techniques for a senior? Let's talk senior specifically.
So, this is going to sound funny because they're already, maybe in their 60s or 70s,
Yeah.
but if in many cases they've never done a budget. And one of the most refreshing and enlightening things to do once they get over the idea of, oh my gosh, I have to have a budget, is actually doing one and taking a look at where is all my money going.
You know, it's amazing when you sit down. Each month I say, okay, here's what I've got to do, and here's how much I have left.
Right.
And most people don't do that. And
No,
that's where they
and
get in trouble.
What
begin with.
What Dave Ramsey teaches is to give every dollar a name. So we teach zero-based budgeting. So it's what I'm making minus what I'm spending and what's left. What would happen if you didn't tell it what to do?
Good point.
It would just go away. So you have to teach your money how to behave.
Right.
So even as a senior, it's just taking a good critical look at where you are and getting some help from someone to figure out how to do it maybe a little bit better and have something left over.
And you know, Beth Courtney, sometimes as the senior ages, they develop such things as cataracts or macular degeneration.
Absolutely.
And if they call Helping Seniors of Brevard at 473-7770, we have other people and other resources that can look at your paperwork and even accompany with you to Beth Courtney's office.
Yes, that's
or
wonderful.
vice versa. So, you know, they're helping seniors get organized. They can help write checks. You know,
that's a huge
so
thing.
There's a demand for that, and I think it's only going to be stronger.
It will, as our population continues to age, especially in Brevard County.
And it's going to. It's going to here in Brevard County.
And people need to be not afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Yeah. Call that number.
Don't let pride or whatever get in the way.
Exactly. You know, it's all about educating our viewers here with this program, Beth Courtney. And, you know, people say, I'm afraid to pick up the phone, but Beth has already said that consultation is free.
Right.
So if she can help you make that first step, to get over that, quote, perception.
Exactly.
And put a plan of action in place, you're going to be able to say, can sleep tonight.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. Take a deep breath
and things are going to be in the right order. Do you ever recommend to an individual when's the right time to buy into the market?
Oh gosh.
Is that a volatile thing?
So market timing is a completely separate conversation.
That's a totally different
for another show, but I will
conversation.
say, you know, timing a market, none of us has a crystal ball. We would love to have that, but none
Wouldn't
of us
that
has
be
one.
nice?
So it's really, that's why the word planning is so important.
Yes.
We try to set realistic expectations up front. Markets are going to rise and fall.
Right.
So how you invest is according to your risk tolerance and your time horizon. Not, hey, is that particular one stock low in this moment? It's a much grander plan than a momentary thing.
And you're right, Beth Courtney. That's a whole nother show. But people think, you know, I've got a financial planner. I want to be able to participate in the market.
Oh, absolutely. If it's appropriate to be in the market, that's exactly what we're there to help them do.
And looking at their plan and their budget, and customize
to their situation.
Tailor it to their needs. And an individual may have a little bit more residual income than another one.
Absolutely.
And say, hey, I've got X amount, who do I go to? You know, might as well, you know, have it make a little bit more money potentially than a CD or whatever.
Especially right now with bank rates so incredibly low. We have had to find alternatives. It's a very tough season for the last several years and going into the next several years for a fixed income investor, someone who really has to have complete safety. So thankfully we have some vehicles that we can help them get more than they can get at banks. But again, it's so custom to each person's situation, and you have to make sure you keep them liquid enough, but also help them earn enough to live.
Right,
so
absolutely.
It's a delicate balance.
It has to be a delicate balance to begin with.
It is.
You know, because the market is so volatile.
It is.
You know, and the fact that it's up and down. And
it's crazy.
You know, some people, I've run into day traders in the past.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's a special brand.
Ooh. I said, that's all you do today is sit in front of the computer.
Their life's not stressful at all.
I would say.
Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh. Well, as a caregiver for a mother and father, and going back momentarily to that sandwich generation, okay, what kind of advice at the tail end of this program would you really give to those individuals who are stuck in that position? You know, they're not going to leave mom and dad.
Oh no.
They're not going to leave their children.
Right.
But, you know, they're tossed and turned and pulled and, you know, everything. And I can just imagine the hours that you put in with your own business.
Right.
And then the hours you put in just as being in the sandwich and taking care of your folks as well.
It's a special challenge.
It
really
has to be a special challenge. What advice would you give someone that really is in that position? How would you say, all right, I'm in this position myself.
Right.
And I understand what you're going through.
And it took me a while to embrace one thing that I would definitely share with people, which is, you know, when you're on an airplane and the flight attendant says, when the oxygen mask comes down, what do they say to do?
Prepare for an emergency.
Right. Well, that's true too. But what they say is put the oxygen mask on yourself before the child. And the first time I heard that, I thought, that's awful. I would put it on my child first. I'm no good to my child if I didn't make it because I didn't put the oxygen mask on myself.
You know, that's a good analogy.
So
that is really, a good analogy.
Of course, it's a primary focus to take care of your parents and take care of your children, but you need to also find those moments. For me, it's watching the sunrise, just to step away, but I think that's important. And then beyond that, to not be too proud to ask for help and to find resources like Helping Seniors and other community resources or the help of professionals that can get you started on the right path. Don't feel like you have to have the whole weight of the world on your own shoulders. Really get help. People want to help.
And that's really important. The fact is that you said you gotta take time out for you.
Yeah. Took me a while to learn.
You're putting so much into it that you've got, if you can't take care of you, then
you'll
you
be
can't
no good for anyone else.
Yeah.
Tough lesson for a giver, but
it is. Well, Beth Courtney, I really want to thank you today for participating with us on our Helping Seniors of Brevard. As a financial planner, you've got a lot of good tips that you can offer people, and we encourage people to call our hotline. We can put you in touch with Beth Courtney, and she will be more than happy to assist you. So I want to thank you for watching today's episode of Helping Seniors, and we look forward to giving you additional educational programs in the future. So tell other people about Helping Seniors and what we're doing, because we believe strongly education is power, Beth Courtney. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
So thank you again for being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Joe Steckler. Thank you for joining our program today. I'd like to remind you that our senior information line is available to you at 321-473-7770. There you can get help and direction that could be helpful for your specific situation or circumstances. The work of helping seniors is very important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our sponsors here in Brevard County are so important. I'd like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses, and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of our media efforts. If you'd like to join us either as a business partner or simply donate as an individual, we would welcome your call at 321-473-7770. You are always welcome to visit our website at www.helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.